Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. First and foremost, alhamdulillah, the fact that Allah has actually joined us here today and given us the opportunity to actually meet every single individual brothers and sisters who've actually donated for this convoy and made it possible. My biggest hero are yourselves today, because what we witnessed in Syria, it still haunts me in the sense that I realize that we are not doing enough for our brothers and sisters in Syria. We are only just at the tip of the iceberg. What they need over there is far greater than what we within this room and the sisters' room can ever do. This response has to be a lot larger, and it's a shame the international community, or the so-called international community, are doing so little. But it's ordinary people like yourselves who are making outstanding sacrifices and making things which seem impossible possible. My journey to through this convoy, I remember when it first was advertised, I wasn't actually planning to go. A brother came to me and said, look, let's do this. And I said, nah, I don't have time. Alhamdulillah, that very night I set it up a Just Giving page, and I called him and said, start publicizing this page. And he was a bit shocked. He said, well, you told me you're not going, and now you're just taking my idea, put your name on it, and everyone thinks it's you. So for that brother, I don't know if he's here, Anwar, your name's there now, bro, inshallah. That was your idea, and I jumped on the horse. And alhamdulillah, you know, I was able to experience unique brotherhood, see some dictators in work, because the brother who was leading our team, driving from Europe all the way through to Syria, didn't let us sleep, kept on saying we need to drive on. So we had to take in turns. But all of that, at the end of it, going into Syria, I would say, you know, I would do that 1,000 times, because the people of Syria are unique. These people, within the hardship that they face, it puts us to shame in terms of what we do for our guests. You know, I've been to Syria before. 2006, I was able to actually go to Syria, and I went to Damascus, and I saw the people there, and I knew that these people were very good, hospitable people. But when we went to Syria this time round, I saw a totally different side to them. Under so much oppression, with the fact that they have nothing. You know, some of these people live in different parts of Syria, but they've lost everything, and now are just trying to be a resistant, or trying to help those individuals who cannot go out. These people do some unique stuff, and I'll give you some examples of those. When we initially, on the very first day in the Turkish border, that night was a bit of a wake-up call for me. Throughout the journey, I wasn't really thinking about my family. You know, I was trying to block it off, and the brothers kept us quite busy. We had some radios in our vehicles, and there were brothers who can talk and talk. So Brother Nasir, if you're here, it's a shout for you. But when we went to the border, I remember that night, we heard an explosion, gunfires. And we asked some of the brothers who, alhamdulillah, they've been around before. And they told us, yeah, this is just normal, don't worry about it. I was looking around at some of the other brothers around us. And I say, you know, it's good, I feel worried. And they also have worried look on their face, so I'm okay. Following day, 1 hour before we're about to go in through the checkpoint, we hear an explosion. But that was really unique, because I didn't see any fear in the brother's face. What I saw was that determination to go in and actually get the job done. And that was the main thing that drove me, and I thought, you know what, I'm in a group of brothers who will actually, whatever my weaknesses are, they'll get rid of that and they'll carry me forward. And they'll take me through, and inshallah, whatever is to happen in the next stages, you know, I've got a group of brothers that I know I'll be safe and secure with. And alhamdulillah, we were able to go into Syria. And we saw the land, we saw the brothers who came to meet us. All the people, when we drove the convoy through, you know, how happy they were to see us. And I felt, you know what, we're getting a welcoming party, almost like as if we're coming from an international state. We're just ordinary people. And we were bankrolled by ordinary people like yourselves. And without this support, you know, we wouldn't have been there. And it's unique also. I remember when we started the fundraising, it only took us 3 months to raise near enough £500,000. And what I see in front of me is young brothers and possibly young sisters on that side. Where do you guys get the money from? It's only because of the fact that you feel the same for our brothers and sisters in Syria. And that makes me really happy to know that when the youth are concerned about the Ummah, then inshallah the future will be bright for this Ummah. Going back, inshallah, when we went into our compound, we were told strict orders not to speak to anybody, not to go out anywhere. It's very dangerous. And we had to stay inside this restaurant area. The very brothers who gave us those instructions, we saw them standing around outside chatting to everyone. But they're the in charges, what could you do? Alhamdulillah, we carried on. It was really nice, the way that the program was. Even though we had 2 toilets, 1 toilet blocked, but you know, almost 70-odd brothers sharing a toilet, still worked. Nobody complained, nobody fussed. It happened. People just got along with it, because what we saw the Syrian people doing was they got along with it. In fact, they put us to shame. They came up, we went there thinking we're going to be helping them. They came up giving us all this help and support. Whatever we needed, they were there. We couldn't say, look, please, that's enough, we don't need this. It wasn't like that. They couldn't accept that. They wanted to help us. And this basis of help, this continuous element where they wanted to serve us as if we were guests, it will always be with me. And you know, inshallah, if I can just be a tiny portion of that to my guests, then I'll feel that I've done something. But just going on in terms of our journey, I remember when we split it up into 3 different teams, I was amongst one of those teams that was going to go into Latakia. Now Latakia is an area, a mountainous region in Syria. I didn't know at the time, but when I came back and looked at the BBC world map and finding out who controls which area, Latakia is an area that's controlled by the government regime. They never told us. They said it's all safe. But alhamdulillah, you know, we started the journey without all this knowledge. We got inside, we were driving through, and I remember in the first day we had to stop because after Maghrib it was very difficult to travel in the mountain area. Plus also it was unsafe. So the driver, he had one of his cousins. We stayed in their house. It was a bombed out house. They showed us bombshells and stuff that was landing over there. They showed us forests that were burnt down by the regime forces just so that the local people couldn't hide in there. And we all went into this room, nice warm room that the residents used to stay in. And there was about 23 brothers in there. And we all were thinking about what food we had because we didn't really get much. We all, whatever little we had, we got it together and we thought, you know, these are just breakfast cereal bars. Inshallah, that should be enough for us for the night. And we were all willing to share. And that was amazing. And then one brother came up to us and he said, look, I've just been to the kitchen. They've got some potatoes there. Why can't we not ask them to fry us some potatoes and we can eat that, inshallah. We're having that discussion to, you know, ask them. And these guys who brought us in there, they've left. You know, they've walked off. So as we're having that discussion and we're waiting around, all of a sudden a knock on the door and the brothers come in. And guess what? It amazed me when I saw what was coming with them. They had platters of, you know, I don't know if you guys know potato bhaji. It's just in Bengali it'll be like what do you call it, aloo bhaji, something like that. But they had all this. They had bread, they had tea, everything. It was like as if they were feeding 100 people. That's how much food that they had coming in. And we were amazed because we were just talking about this potato that we could do something with. They had already started dealing with it. And that was the thing about this. These people don't have nothing, yet they were willing to share everything that they had. And when we offered them to come and sit down with us and eat, you know what they did? Initially they said, no, you eat. But because we kept on insisting, what did these people do? They just touched it, picked up one or two things, had it, and they said, alhamdulillah, I'm finished. That was it. And we wasted the food. I look at that time and I think, this is what makes these people so unique. The way that they look after the people who have come to help them. And then also in terms of the way that they help each other. When you look at the young people, they're amazing in the sense that, these young children that we had with us, they challenged us to recite Quran, and they said, you recite Quran, guaranteed we're going to sort your tajweed out. We were afraid to recite Quran in front of them, because that's how good they were. But eventually, anyway, on the second day, we managed to get to one of the camps. The very first camp was lower down in the mountainous region. I was expecting when we got there that we were going to be mobbed, because every time you see on the TV news, you see aid workers going in and there's a mob of people coming to take all the aid. That's what I was expecting. God there is totally different. These people, they have honor. They might have lost everything, but they haven't lost their dignity. They didn't come in and rush us. They waited patiently. We had to ask permission to go in, and when we were given permission to go in, when we went with the aid, that little aid we had, I felt embarrassed. These people needed a lot more than what we gave to them. The weather was so cold. We had so many layers on, but these people, I remember seeing this girl, she didn't have nothing on her feet. And we just took some blankets for them. On that visit anyway, we just took blankets for them. I was looking at it and I was thinking, what is this? This is not enough. How can we come to a group of people like this and give them this? If this is aid work, then I don't want to be part of it, because this is more embarrassing than going to somebody and begging. But the people took it with such humility. They, after taking it, they didn't want to leave us until we had a cup of tea with them. They wanted us to take something from them. And every time these people, although I don't understand Arabic that well, but the little brothers who did, every time they said, please make dua to Allah, because Allah is the only one who can change our situation. And these are the things that I came back with. As much as we say it, in practice, we don't really do it. But when somebody is there, like the people of Syria, seeing what they're going through, they really believe in it. And each time we went further up the mountain to the higher camps, we saw the situation even worse. And every time we saw the determination of the people much, much higher. But it made me, when we were leaving Latakia, when we were coming back, I remember just thinking that when we go back, we can't just sit around and do nothing. Now that we've seen it, it's actually an obligation for us to make sure that we don't stop. And I was hoping, inshallah, that when we come back, it won't be the case. But unfortunately for myself even, coming back lost the energy. I think a lot of the time we respond out of emotions. When we see pictures, when we see people suffering, our response is there, we think that we need to do something. But in normal life, when we don't see all this, unfortunately we forget the very people who are so amazed by. And I hope, inshallah, today, although this is not a fundraising event, it's more to say thank you to all the brothers and sisters who's donated. I hope collectively today we'll all go back after seeing some of those videos and other people who will be talking about their experience, that we'll all go back with a determination to remember our brothers and sisters in Syria, knowing that it's been 3 years for them now, and knowing that this whole situation has not ended for them. Forget our emotional response, but responding with a planned effort. You know, there's so many ways that we can help them, and just tapping into those things and helping them. I don't know how long I've got left, bro. 1 minute. Just to, you know, before I finish off, I really want to say a big Jazakumullah khair to all the brothers and sisters. The brothers and sisters in human aid, and there are 2 unique brothers who are currently in Syria working really hard. They've left their families here. These brothers, you know, they've sacrificed so much, but they're not doing it just for any reason. Inshallah, may Allah reward them for the efforts that they do. But also, like yourselves, keep them in your du'as, and also be part of the work that they do by making sure that we all support the cause in Syria. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum.